Hi everyone and welcome to 2016. The first card we're going to make this year is going to be this all occasion with all my love card. Now the reason I say it's all occasion because it can be used for birthdays, it can be used for anniversaries, it could be used as a thank you card, but even more it can be used as a Valentine's Day card. Now I know we're still only in January, but Valentine's Day is coming up, so this is a card that you can also use for that. And it's a quick and simple card to do. A little bit of detailing with the faux stitching, but it's one that you can put together pretty quickly, and it's also one where you can use up some of your scraps, and I'll explain why. So this card I've made using a craft card. It's a standard 6x6 craft card, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate this card with a white base, and I'm going to show you how easy you can just mix and match and use up maybe some of your scraps that you've got in your collection, or some pieces of paper that you love the pattern of but not really quite sure what to do with. It's like I have a piece here that's a bit more mixed media and grungy that I could use, which is still the perfect size. So you can literally create cards out of pretty much nothing. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're starting off with our base card. Now I'm going to keep this one to hand because I will keep referring back to it. So this is our 6x6 card base, or it's a 148 by 148 millimeter, which is what you can get out of an A4 sheet of cardstock. So the base, or our mat, we're going to start off with a standard mat, just a square mat, which is cut slightly smaller. Now this is cut at 14.4 millimeters, or 14.4 centimeters, 144 millimeters, sorry, by 144 millimeters, which is 14.4 centimeters by 14.4 centimeters. Now that's going to give us a nice white border all the way around. And our two pieces of cardstock that we're going to use for our panels on the front, I'll just grab the two that I used for this one, is just a piece which is 7 centimeters by 14 centimeters. So that's 70 millimeters by 140 millimeters, and that will sit on the front with a nice red border all the way around, as you can see the border here. And this piece, the same, when butted up, will leave the same border all the way around. So nice and matching and even, but you can mix this up if you want to. Now what I suggest is you take one away and then bring in scraps that you might want to use for, from other paper stacks that you might have lying around. So I've got one here that I could possibly use, and that makes the card look different. Or you could mix and match with two different papers if you wanted to, or two similar papers but with different colours. So you could take that one off and replace it with one like that if you preferred a more floral card. Or even you could just use a piece of patterned paper all the way across and then put your circle, heart circles down one side. It's really up to you, and you have an infinite possibilities just by flicking through your scraps and deciding which you want to use up. And again, you can swap them over, put it on the left hand side, put it on the right hand side, get rid of that one, swap it over with that one. It doesn't really matter, but it's a nice and easy layout to use, and it's one that you can make cards in a hurry. So what we're going to do today, as I said, we'll put that one to one side, is I'm going to recreate the card. I'm still going to use the wood, but this time I'm going to put it over to the left, which means that our heart will come down on the left hand side and the banner will come across over to the right. But I'm going to use a different piece of paper. I'm going to use this one, which I've already cut to size at 70 millimeters by 140 millimeters, 7 centimeters by 14 centimeters. There we go. Okay, now, so to get our red circles, obviously that's just going to be a standard inch punch. Now, I don't want to use another piece of card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch them out of this one, because this is going to be hidden. So I'm going to punch that, and then when we stick that back down, we're then going to cover that over, and nobody's going to be any of the wiser. And I've just grabbed a sheet of spare red, so just a piece of spare red, and all I'm going to do is just punch out one tiny little heart out of a scrap of red, and then the rest, if I can find a piece of scrap white cardstock, we'll punch out our one circle, and then using the same little heart punch, I'm just going to punch out 3 white hearts. And there we have all our elements apart from our little banner. Now, from a piece of the scrap red, when I cut that red mat out, I obviously had a little bit of red cardstock left over, which is also where I've punched out my little hearts from, but I've kept a little piece back to make the banner. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on sticking everything together. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick down the red back. Now all I'm doing is just using multi-purpose glue just to give me a little bit of wiggle room. And then I'm just going to stick that down so that we can then manoeuvre that to make sure that we've got it as equal as we can all the way around before it grabs, which is perfect. The next piece I'm going to stick down is going to be our wooden panel. Gonna make sure we get the card the right way, and then I can stick that down with an equal border, top, left, and on the bottom, and then do the same thing for our other patterned panel. And my glue is starting to run out. Time I raided the shop for more. Okay, and then I'm going to butt that up to the one that's already there and just drop it down. And then if I need to adjust it slightly, I can just maneuver both of them because they won't have set just yet. There we go. Perfect. And then all we're going to do now, at this point, if you want to, you can add your faux stitching, or you can leave that to the end. Now I've added faux stitching to each panel, and then on this one I've gone in with a red pen, which is just a distress marker, which I'll show you that in a little while. Okay, so I'll pop that to one side and just let that sit for a second. And then we can start work on our little hearts. Now we have 3 circles in red and 1 in white. So we're going to team those up. Now all I've got is just a quick glue pen. This is the Zig Squeeze and Roll 2-way glue pen. And all I'm going to do is just in the middle of each of the circles, I'm just going to add a little blob of the glue. Now you can just use craft PVA if you want to, but I found that sometimes the craft PVA makes them buckle slightly, but I've never found that with this glue. So for little details like this, and then I'm just going to use my quick pickup and just place the heart over the top in the middle. Quick and easy, and it does dry clear, so you're fine. So there's our 3 red and the 1 white. Now again, you can do these in whatever order you want to do them. So bringing the cards back in, again, we can just by eye if you want to, or if you want to use a tape runner you can do that too, is just position some of the glue, trying to get as even as you can, but you can even it out once you actually start to put them down. There we go. And then again, pick up. I think that one dropped off. This is the good thing about using wet glue, because you do have that repositionable time. I think I need to re-energise my little pickup tool. And then drop that one on the bottom. And then that one up the top, or whichever order you want to put them in. Now, I'm not going to stick that one down just yet. I'm going to take my scrap of red card, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a quick fishtail banner just by cutting up the middle. Now if you've got a square punch, you can just cut the corner and then punch the corner with the square punch from this piece of card. That'll give you a perfect fishtail banner. But I put mine down somewhere and I don't know what I've done with it. Either that or Ian's borrowed it and never brought it back. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a little bit of that glue just underneath that banner. Just a tiny little bit. And then I'm just going to place that down so it's in line with that circle there. And then I'm going to pick up the circle and drop that over the top. Now we do have, like I said, a bit of wiggle room, so we can manoeuvre to make sure that they're all level and they're equal before they actually grab and stick down. There is a little bit of play, and when you're happy, pretty much done. So all I'm going to do is just push those down like so, and pop the top of my quick stick back away, and then I'm just going to grab my white pen. This is the Signal Uniball white opaque rollerball pen, and it pretty much writes on any colour at all. So I'm just going to energise it and get it working, and then take the lid off because it'll probably wobble around. I'm just going to write my sentiment in there by hand. Now I like doing this because it does personalise the card to whoever you're sending it to. So that's why I like to handwrite sentiments occasionally. So for something like this. So for this one I'm just going to write the same that I did before. I'm just going to write "with all my love." And it doesn't matter, you can get decorative with your writing. If you can do calligraphy, so much the better. If you can't, doesn't matter, use a stamp if you want. There you go. And then all I have to do now is just to go around and add in my detailing. Now this obviously is one of those details that you can miss out if you want to. You can actually stitch it on yourself, physically stitch it on yourself if you want, or you can add doodling, you can add whatever kind of decoration to this that you want to. You don't have to do it, but I think it just ties everything together. And then it doesn't take long. But what I'll do is I will speed up the film and you can see me race through it right back to the end, and then I will join you when I've finished adding the last bits of the faux doodling around the circles and around the banner. But then I will show you how I added it using the red pen in the same way with around the others. Okay, so I'll see you in a little while. Okay, so that's the white finished. So all I'm going to do now is just take a red pen. This is a distress marker in Bandor, which is the reddest that I can find. Now you can use a pro marker if you want to, you can use your Copics, you can use any pen that will write on paper, which is most of them. So you could even use a ballpoint pen if you want to, in red, which is perfect if you're a school teacher, because I know you'll have one hanging around somewhere. And then just add in the complementary red stitching wherever you want it to go. So once again, I'll speed this through to the end and I will join you when it's complete. Okay, all done. Now you could finish that off and further embellish it if you wanted to by adding a little gemstone here and there, or you could add a little bit of Wink of Stella. Let me see if I can grab my Wink of Stella pen. I have a clear Wink of Stella. Now all I have to do if I wanted to is just go over the white ones. I wouldn't go over the red, just to give the white ones a little bit of a shimmer. And I will try and hold that up to the camera to see whether it picks it up. It probably won't while it's still wet. I don't know whether the glare from the cameras and the lights is negating that, but hopefully you'll be able to pick that up on the photos at the end of the video. But I've just added a little bit of that Wink of Stella just to the white heart, and then if you wanted to, and to add a little bit more detailing, you could either take a really tiny small gem. I'm just thinking that I've got any of my little clear gems kicking about. I had a real set of small ones. I always do this. I decide right at the very end that I want to add a small gem, and then I can never find them. Ah, there you go. Well, hey, that makes a change. Okay, so let me see if I can grab a craft knife to be able to use that. You hear me rummaging in my craft kit. And oh, there's no blade on that one. That's typical. Craft knife with no blade. Honestly, I'd have been safer if I'd have stayed in bed. Here we go. Craft knife number 2. And then just take one little gem and place that right in the middle of that red heart. And there you go. So let's bring in the other card. So you have the one on the craft with the red. You can just pick out the Wink of Stella. So I didn't put it on the red one on this one because I think it dulled the red colour down a little bit. I don't know if you can pick that up on the white ones there either. The lighting may be all wrong, but there you go. So you've got 2 different variations. So one on the left, one on the right. But you can see if you just mix and match with your scrap pieces of paper that you've got left over, there's a lot actually that you can do without buying masses and masses and masses. So using up those scraps, which is what we want to do. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. If you did enjoy it, please remember to give it a thumbs up because it does really help. And what happens is YouTube will recommend our channel to other people who may not know anything about Crafty Hands yet. So if you can click that thumbs up, that would be fantastic. And if you want to be kept informed of future video uploads and tutorials like this one, all you have to do is to click that subscribe button at the end of the video. That's all from me. I will see you all again next week.